Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of Tales of Valiant CR Exposed. On today's episode we're looking at the Ghost, a CR4 undead monster. And with that, let's go ahead and take a look at this. Let's jump in and start hashing out how this ghost works. So right off the bat we're going to start with its stats here. We're going to go with a -2 on strength, a 2 dex, 0 con and intelligence, a 3 wisdom, which may have the proficiency bonus added in. I'm not entirely sure. We might figure that one out later on. But beyond that, we're going to go ahead and start moving in here. So we're expecting 68 hit points, and we should be adjusting this for a CR4. So for a CR4, we should have +2 proficiency bonus, 13 to 15 AC, 100 hit points. So we already know that we're going to have some negatives for the hit points. 4 to 5 attack bonus, 32 to 37 damage per round, and 13 to 15 save DC. Alright, we do have a 12 for our armor class. Our dexterity is a 2, which gives us a 12 for the armor class itself, so we don't have to worry about adjusting that. We have a fly speed of, a movement speed of 0, but we do have a fly speed of 40. So technically we don't have to make adjustments here, but we can. In this case, we have a walk speed of 0 and a fly speed of 40. We go ahead and add that in. This is going to be the shouldn't say that. This is the actual number that's being changed here, so this should be the targeted for the main speed in its movement, so therefore we won't have to worry about any kind of bonus hit points for having slow movement like a pudding. From there, we can skip down to resistances and immunities. I can see we have a whole bunch of them. So this is where we're going to see a bunch of modifications here. So we are resistant to acid, fire, lightning, thunder, and bludgeoning, piercing, slashing from non-magical attacks. And then on top of that, we also have immunity to cold, necrotic, and then we have some conditions here. Now the funny part is it looks like we have almost everything either resistant or immune, except for a couple things, and we'll probably see that in undead resilience as well. So let's go ahead and jump down to our condition resistances and immunities here. And we have the following: charmed. We are immune to that, so we can't be charmed, and we can't be frightened, and grappled. So we could technically stop right here, because once we get to 3, it triggers our negative changes here, and we can kind of basically just stop, but we can keep going just for the sake of having it all in here for the video. Paralyzed. Was it petrified, prone, and restrained. So these are all of our immunities here. Now, if you were using this tool and actually exporting it to home brewery to make really awesome stats for your monster, this is when you would definitely want this, because the tool will export the code for home brewery. But beyond that, just for the sake of checking over our monster here, we actually don't need to put in more than just the 3, because as you can see, we only get the 1 use out of it. Alright, so everything else here is known and valid. We don't have to worry about it, so we will just skip over to the monster's traits. We have ethereal sight. Doesn't really matter. It's all about seeing into the material plane or ethereal plane. Incorporeal movement just allows you to move through objects. Undead nature doesn't require air, food, drink, sleep, all that stuff. Undead resilience. We do care about this one, technically. Let's see here. So we're looking at immune to poison damage. So we're going to go ahead and add in this extra here. And to the exhaustion and poisoned conditions. So we're immune to these as well, and these are just little extras, again, for the sake of like printing basically. So all undead will have this undead resilience, and it just kind of saves on typing, although technically this is extra text because we're throwing in all these little extras like the ghost is blah blah blah, it's a damage and exhaustion, so it doesn't really save space as far as I'm concerned. I don't know. It's an interesting choice of how they format the items up here. Next we have unfinished business. Unless its unfinished business is fulfilled, a destroyed ghost returns after so many days, regaining all hit points and becoming active again within 10 feet of where it died. Let's see here. If presented with an object or piece of information related to its unfinished business, the ghost must succeed on a wisdom save or be incapacitated until the end of its next turn. After it has been incapacitated by a particular source, the ghost can't be done so again by that same source for 24 hours. If presented with everything it needs to complete its unfinished business, the ghost permanently dies after completing it. So that's really cool. I like what they've done here with the ghost, as compared to other systems where the ghost just kind of dies and that's it. This lets you bring this ghost, this undead, back repeatedly, which is pretty cool. I like that. But unfortunately, it doesn't really make any kind of distinction here for the monster CR and changing its hit points. So let's go ahead and get into the actions and bonus actions here. Our ghost does make 2 Withering Touch or telekinetic throw attacks. Either of these is going to be a +6 or a +4. So we're going to come back up here and see that we should have 4 to 5. Now, our Withering Touch is technically 1 step over. The issue with that is that technically it should adjust the hit points. And I do have a experimental feature section here for when the attack bonus is higher or lower. Cold Blood Press suggests that we don't worry about that. I think otherwise. That's why I've added in this little adjustment here. I think technically we should have it higher. Now, clearly, our ghost here is working off a dexterity. With its proficiency bonus of a 2, we're getting a 4 for our bonus to a hit, and that falls within the range of the 4 or 5 currently. But that's for telekinetic throw. For the Withering Touch, it's going to be a little higher, and honestly, I don't know why it's higher. Withering Touch should be based probably off of its strength or its dex, so that might be a misprint for some reason. I wonder why that's a 6, unless they're using charisma, maybe? That's strange. That might be a bit of a typo there. I'd have to reach out to the group there, Cold Blood Press, about this one. Well, in any event, let's go ahead and throw in our attacks. The Withering Touch here is going to deal 1 target 18 necrotic damage. I'm going to skip over this section here because Cold Blood Press knows what they're doing, and they format their dice correctly. So that's going to be 18 even dice, or 18 even damage, since there's 4, or an even number of dice, and it doesn't have any rider damage, so we can just skip over that, and we just have a flat 18. Telekinetic Throw, on the other hand, has 17 bludgeoning, piercing, or slashing damage, depending on the type. The ghost can throw only 1 small or smaller object within range that isn't being worn or carried. Alright, pretty straightforward, not a big deal. We are making 2 of each, so technically, we could take the average, which would just round back down. So in any event, we're just going to take 17 for our multi-attack here because we're doing 2. I mean, it's a matter of 2 more points of damage, which technically could make a difference. So we'll just, for the sake of it, take a look at this to see what happens. We have a 36 here, and we have what is that? Probably 34? Yeah, 34 here. So our average for damage here is going to be a 35, which is well within range of the 32 to 37 for our expected damage, and I will do just that. I'm just going to throw in 35 for our average damage. And you may be asking, why am I throwing in concentration? Well, concentration is set up to use every round of combat. We'll be concentrating on a wall of fire, or some kind of cloud kill, or something that is doing damage every round. I don't have to keep redoing the numbers just to, say like, oh, cloud kill plus this attack plus that attack. If it happens every round, just use concentration. And then from there, we have ourselves the 35 average damage, which is where it should be. Now, the last thing we have here is etherealness. And that just lets us move between the material plane or the ethereal plane. And it's not going to affect our CR. So let's take a look at what is actually affecting our CR at the moment. So it looks like we have 1 point below our AC, which is correct. So we are supposed to have 13 to 15. We have a 12 here. So that's giving us a bonus of 5% for our hit points. But then we take a look here at our negatives, and we actually have 1 trigger for having too many resistances or immunities in the conditions area. And then we have at least two multiples of -8 for every 2 types of damage in the creature's resistance and immunities of damages. So that's giving us a total of -16%, and in theory, we should have the 68 hit points here. So let's see what we have. Drum roll, please. And we have 84. So it looks like my tool may not be triggering for all of the resistances and immunities as it should be. Let me take a look here. Okay, I've figured out where the issue is. In my tool and with the instructions here say for every 2 types of damage to which the creature is resistant or immune, I take this from a programming point of view, one or the other, and saying like, okay, what has the most amount, and we will calculate that. So for instance, right now, it's only looking at resistances because resistances has the most here. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We reduce that or divide that in half, we get 2.5 and round down to 2. And that is where we're getting the 2 from here. In this instance, for immunities, we're only getting 1. And that's why in my tool at the moment, we have an 84. Now, when we go back here and we say, okay, let's shift all the immunities over into resistances just for the sake of argument here. We'll push these over. Actually, I'll just leave these so I know where they're at. We now have 4. And when we have 4, which technically is now including immunities, our hit points are 68, just like the ghost. So what this tells me is that I need to adjust my code a little bit here to get this correct, and our monster is now 100% accurate. There we go. Okay, now with that out of the way, we can go ahead and update the tool and talk about the tool itself. Once the tool is corrected, if you'd like to get this tool for yourself as well, you can do so by checking my Ko-fi page, link in the description below, where you can get the tool completely for free, or you can donate if you feel so inclined to. You will get all updates completely for free as well. You just have to make sure to keep the link, or maybe come back and check your purchases, where you can probably get the link again. On top of that, I also have custom classes, yes, actual different classes, and surprisingly enough, with the Player's Handbook number 2 that's coming out for Tales of the Valiant, there are going to be 3 new official classes as well, one being the Vanguard, plus a whole bunch of extra subclasses, which I also have a couple subclasses as well, and as well as custom monsters for both games that Tales of the Valiant is similar to and far superior to as well. Beyond that, if you'd like to support the channel, you can become a channel member here on YouTube or a Ko-fi supporter over there at Ko-fi, and you can also like, subscribe, comment, do all the fun stuff there, share, and would be super greatly appreciated. Thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.